YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. It comes just once a year, thankfully, but the 2026 annual Grammy Awards happen to occur, and as always, the gates of hell seem to be open this year for the little watched Grammy Awards. Or maybe it wasn't the gates of hell that were open. Maybe it was just a massive septic tank, because the odor could be smelled from miles away. The combination, of course, of fecal matter and sulfur, which we know these Satanists love to bathe in. And boy, it didn't really disappoint. Now, I don't watch these things anymore, but I will obviously glance through it to do a video to show people exactly the occult symbolism that is being presented in front of them. And as I often say when it comes to the Grammys or the Oscars, where is Ted Kaczynski when you need him? And for those of you that might be too young to remember, Ted Kaczynski, of course, is the Unabomber. Too soon? I mean, if we ever needed him, that would probably be the time. But I have to show you some of the stuff that occurred at this freak show. And of course, where better to start than at the actual bottom of the barrel with Lady Gaga. The demon itself once again appeared performing abracadabra, right? When she's not a witch. I mean, abracadabra is a term most associated with magic and witchcraft, and Lady Gaga didn't let down because, of course, once again, Lady Gaga showed up on stage wearing a birdcage over its head. It might be the millionth time we've seen Lady Gaga wear an actual birdcage, and as I always say, signs and symbols rule the world, but you have to wonder what the majority of our society actually thinks when Lady Gaga decides to show up among its peers, its fellow demonic peers, and decides to constantly be inside of bird cages, wear bird cages on its head. It's just some obsession, even going out to dinner in New York City wearing a bird cage. And of course, for those of you who are awake, we all know the symbolism behind the birdcage and MK Ultra mind control programming. This has to do with disassociation and alter personalities, which all of these celebrities have. It represents the slavery and bondage that they are under, the psychological cage that is created by trauma-based mind control. And of course, it's the people behind the scenes who actually control the behavior of these celebrities who have literally sold their souls to be in the position that they're in, which is pretty sad, being that in the year 2026, celebrities really don't have that much influence anymore, but there's still a small amount of people out there, or sheeple out there, who do look up to these people and are idolizing them still to this day. And of course, the job of the celebrity is to manufacture behavior, which is why so many of these celebrities constantly go on television, perform demonic rituals on television where they have blood dripping down their mouths, as I've covered before, Lady Gaga, or black goo coming out of their spores. Still, somehow, some way, people will defend these celebrities, and they don't think that they're actually government assets, but they are. And again, the birdcage is a very common symbol we see. This is why you see so many celebrities using the birdcage. We've seen Katy Perry performing inside of a birdcage. We've seen Taylor Swift inside of a birdcage. That famous photo of Britney Spears in her own front yard sitting inside of a birdcage, and not many more people are obvious victims of MK Ultra mind control programming other than Britney Spears, who might be the most obvious. We've even seen the Beatles do things like this, and people don't question, the Beatles just being silly. I mean, they've got Aleister Crowley on their album covers. They have images of them holding up what appear to be dead baby dolls, even have images of them holding up the 666 hand sign, or you're just putting birdcage over the head, because of course, this is very symbolic. The Beatles were rolled out by the Tavistock Institute as well as Elvis. They were the first mind control experiment done on the masses to see if they could take these characters and have a mass amount of people worship the ground that they walk on, and look at the world we live in now. The Beatles are still idolized to this day, and that's exactly why you see them wearing bird cages on their head. They were a mind control experiment done on the masses. So we've seen Gaga obviously do the 666 hand sign all the time. Of course, close buddies with Marina Abramovich, who is one of the more revolting witches that we know of. Of course, I've covered so much stuff with Lady Gaga over the years, including even in the last 2 years or so, having a channel removed for covering that satanic ritual they performed on Saturday Night Live, because they love to try to use humor and deflect, even showing you Lamash 2, who you may remember from that massive ritual that occurred in Switzerland at the Gotthard Tunnel. So Lady Gaga shows up, performs Abracadabra, has a bird cage on its head, and nobody blinks, right? Then you get this character showing up here. This is a father-son duo, or maybe a wife-daughter duo. I have no idea what I'm actually looking at. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is CeeLo. And this is CeeLo coming to the Grammy Awards with its own child with red demonic eyeballs, right? These people don't worship demons, do they? I mean, all they do is pay homage to demons. They like to dress like demons. They like to speak in tongues half the time, if you actually listen to the lyrics of their songs. And here's CeeLo, just like Lady Vomit Bag, happens to be on a magazine cover holding up the 666 hand sign. But of course, the stuff that's out there about CeeLo Green, and I'm sure most of you are going, who? Well, exactly. Nobody really knows who CeeLo Green is, except a small number of people who worship these low-life celebrities still in 2026. But this is a guy who, again, holds up the 666 hand sign, does the all-seeing eye symbolism underneath a banky on magazine covers, right? We're supposed to believe this is all coincidental. The hand on the chin, of course, and the Masonic symbol. And he showed up at the Grammys a couple of years ago. You might remember. I covered it in a video where he was dressed in gold leaflets, right? Where have we seen that before? Oh, right. Marina Abramovich. What a tie-in with Marina, Lady Gaga, CeeLo Green. They all love to hold up the same hand signs, the 666 hand signs, right? And of course, they love to be dressed in gold leaves. I mean, here's Marina with James Franco. Again, people see this stuff and they don't even blink. That is an ancient Egyptian ritual that I uncovered many years ago, which has to do with the flesh of the gods, worshiping of Ra, and applying gold leaves to their entire bodies, and it symbolizes to them immortality and eternal life. So CeeLo's done that before at the Grammys, in addition to showing up here with some, we can look at it, we could say he's got red contact lenses in, and you just go, well, why would anybody show up at this award show if it's supposed to be the most prestigious award show in your field, right? If you're a musician, supposedly the Grammys is the big one. If you're an actor, the Oscars is, right? Somebody said, hey, why don't we go to Party Fair and go get some red contact lenses? I mean, the odds really, as crazy as it sounds, the odds are stronger that CeeLo Green is just demonically possessed. And I mean, well, we know who these people worship, so it shouldn't surprise us. Then, of course, we got, which is becoming more and more common, we have our Masonic hazing ritual, also known as the humiliation rituals, right? Justin Bieber was rolled out on stage to perform music in his underwear. This is becoming more and more normal. This is becoming one of their go-to humiliation rituals. And again, if you go through Masonic teachings, you'll see that they have things like the electric branding iron. These are things that we all look at as hazing. The origins of this stuff is blackmail and hazing in Freemasonry, where these people take sworn oaths to one another, then they're asked to perform rituals in front of one another, rituals that they would never want to actually perform that are used against them in case they ever speak out against their brotherhood. And that's how we are where we are. That's why these people never confess to being Freemasons. They never rat out their buddies because they have so much dirt on them that they'd rather be dead than rat them out. And again, as I've said so many times over, look no further than Mozart and how Mozart died. Mozart was a prominent Freemason. Look it up yourself. Look up all of the songs that you know of by Mozart. You've definitely heard them. You might not have them on your iPod, but when you hear those classical tunes, you probably say, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Mozart wrote a lot of his music for the Freemasonic lodges. And Mozart got a little too yippy with his tongue and started drinking a lot of booze. And it got to a point where Mozart was starting to expose the secrets of the fraternal order. And what happened to Mozart famously? Oh, well, Mozart had a mysterious death. We're told that Mozart just died, maybe from alcoholism, maybe from something else. And you see that famous picture of Mozart being rolled away in a casket with only his dog showing up at his funeral. Well, why do you think that is? If Mozart is still talked about to this day as one of the most famous musicians, composers of all time, nobody wanted to show up at his funeral. What about his Masonic buddies? Well, he started turning on them, speaking against them. So that's why they have that famous portrait of Mozart being rolled in his casket, getting rolled with a dog following him, and no people attending his actual funeral, right? So you can see some of the embarrassing images I've shown you on the screen. I mean, these guys like to play, with each other's buttholes pretty much. But we see Justin Bieber again doing the 666 hand sign, many magazine covers holding up, a stake over his eyes. Even recently, I covered this really creepy photograph that he posted of his child and him eating his child's ear. And of course, he uses a pizza emoji because for those of us with eyes to see and ears to hear, we know exactly what they mean when they constantly reference pizza. And again, this is becoming new commonplace, right? You see him doing all the 666 hand sign. We just saw John Cena do this at the Oscars. John Cena, a wrestler, shows up at the Oscars just with a card to hold over his crotch. He's naked on stage. I'm sure he's wearing something underneath it, but presumed nude on stage in front of all of his peers. Of course, what's happened since then? Well, John Cena's career outside of wrestling has taken off. John Cena holds up the same exact hand sign as all these other clowns like Justin Bieber, the 666 hand sign. But he tells you it means hustle, loyalty, and respect, right? Give me an utter break. And we've seen, again, other Masonic rituals that have taken place at these big award shows, most famously probably Will Smith and Chris Rock, and how much attention that entire situation garnered. And again, Chris Rock doing the hand over his chin many times. Chris Rock even joking, using humor. This is what they do to deflect on being in the Illuminati, right? They love to say Illuminati, but they never talk about their Masonic connection and how these people are all Freemasons. The word Illuminati automatically helps them deflect, and then they joke about it because it brainwashes the masses into thinking it's one big conspiracy. But here he is joking about it.
There is an Illuminati, but I guess I'm in it, but I'm just not good with follow-up. Texts and emails and meetings, it's just not my thing. But I guess I'm still in it.
Right, and just like that humiliation ritual, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Chris Rock doing photographs like this in magazines like Hollywood Reporter, etc., right? Holding up the 666 hand sign like John Cena. Maybe he's a big fan of his, or Justin Bieber. I guess we just don't know the hand sign, right? We're not in the club. I mean, it couldn't be clearer. Look at all these people doing the same signs and symbols. Bieber does it countless times. Bieber, again, even wearing a shirt with 666 on it. He does the Tim Biebs. He's got the all-seeing eye symbolism over his eye. And again, Bieber is another one of these kids that's been passed around Hollywood. They go from actually being victims to being handlers. That's how this vicious cycle continues. You may remember some of the stuff with Diddy now. I've covered the stuff with Diddy, which is a massive government charade for the most part because he's not really in jail. It doesn't mean Diddy's not involved. Oh, he's involved. They're all involved. Every one of them is involved. And when they put these people out in the open and they say that they're accused of this or that and they're going to jail and you're not going to see them for a long time, guess what? They go on vacation. That's the only place they actually go. Here is an interview, if you didn't see it, which is one of the most disturbing ones I've covered, but I covered this back with Diddygate, again, with Justin Bieber and his handler, who appears to be Diddy, talking about, well, just things you shouldn't be talking about with young little boys.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down and you got to, wear your seat.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
All right, 16.
No,
16.
Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when when you get 16. You're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right, man.
And then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion?
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go buck full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go get some girls.
Man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
And again, they wanted to present this image with Justin Bieber, with P. Diddy, that it's this thing that's just Diddy. Diddy's just involved. Oh, Diddy's got secrets. It's all of Hollywood. I covered this even last year. Tori Spelling reveals all the secret hidden tunnels underneath the Spelling Manor in Hollywood, connected to Warren Beatty, connected to all of them, connected to the Playboy Mansion. And again, the Playboy Mansion, for people out there that don't know, was a massive trafficking operation run by the CIA. They were trafficking children from Vietnam, bringing them over to the U.S. They wanted you to think that the Playboy Mansion was about these beautiful women and, oh, every guy should want to go there and meet these beautiful women. It was a cover, a front for massive child trafficking done through the CIA and their operative, Hugh Hefner, who played a role. In fact, you can even see a lot of the images that are out there about all the tunnels that connect in Hollywood. That video is available on the website. Of course, the boom of the porn industry, how it became so big, was all done by design by your friends at the government. Who else was at the Grammys this year? I don't mean to veer off track, but all these things connect to one another because it's just a room of a bunch of people who are involved in the same circles, who worship Lucifer, who perform Freemasonic satanic rituals. You might as well just say what club they're in, which is the Cabal. And then you get people like Billie Eilish, right? Billie Eilish is there with Bad Bunny and Miley the Virus. And Bad Bunny is somebody I'm probably going to cover before the Super Bowl, because last fall when they mentioned that he was going to be performing at halftime, I talked about how there could be a massive psyop finally occurring at the Super Bowl with all this stuff with ICE. I wouldn't even be shocked if they ran ICE on the stage. People believe everything they see on the news. They would believe that it was real 100%. As you've seen, Miley Virus there, obviously a pizza lover, the disturbing things she's posted over the years. And look, they're even hinting at the stuff with Bad Bunny. He won Album of the Year, right? But his albums aren't in English. I mean, how bad can you gaslight people? He wins a Grammy for Album of the Year, but it's not in English in America. So MAGA's all riled up. They want him deported. He goes on stage and criticizes ICE along with Billie Eilish and all these other barf bags. I mean, it's incredible, right? Who else did we have? Well, we had John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. So sticking with the theme here of Luciferians, right? Let's not forget John Legend, his Life Water ad where the 666 up right over his eye. Or let's not forget, John Legend is as sweet as honey when he was promoting the Death Clot Shot booster for all of the absolute morons that will go and put this inside their body because celebrities were telling them to go and do it, right? Meanwhile, not one of these celebrities actually got a shot in the first place, which is why we haven't seen any of them drop dead on the spot. And if you don't remember, his wife, Chrissy, okay, this goes back to 2011 to 2013. These are some of the disturbing pre-Pizzagate posts that Chrissy put out to the world. I'm about to Anthony Weiner this kid, right? Is that disturbing enough? How about I just saw a baby that looked like a porn star, like a trashy, do anything porn star. Is this wrong to think? Or how about seeing little girls do the splits half naked is just, I want to put myself in jail, and then goes on to say, I'm going to go to jail over pizza. That's 2013. Okay. That's them using code words out in the open before people out there actually realize what Pizzagate was and what it was a reference to, and why all these celebrities like Macaulay Culkin had bands called Underground Pizza, and why there was all these weird pictures that Miley Cyrus was posting with pizza slices over her crotch and other kids' crotches. Well, people eventually woke up to all of it because it's actually true. And if your neighbor posted this type of stuff, this is what I try to explain to you. If your next door neighbor on their Instagram or their Twitter account was putting stuff referencing children and how they want to put themselves in jail because little girls doing splits is just too much for them to handle, you'd call the police on them, right? But they all call us conspiracy theorists because they're famous and we're not. And we're supposed to worship the ground that they walk on, even though I don't think most of these demons actually walk in the first place. And speaking of demons, Heidi Klum, you may remember this specimen. I just wanted to point this out because this just shows you how insane all of these satanic demons are. This is a dress worn to the Grammys. Not that the Grammys matter, but you remember when you were younger and you'd hear about the Oscars, you hear about the Grammys, and you say, oh, wow, and oh, the big celebrities are coming out and they're going to give each other awards. She's wearing a bodysuit on the red carpet. It just shows you these people are completely gone. These are pictures, again, of Heidi Klum doing the all-seeing eye symbolism. I often mention this. For anybody out there that wants to do their own research, a lot of times the models, wink, wink models, they do this with their hair. That's how they subtly get away with it, by always having their hair over their eyes. Even had Heidi Klum in a little bit of a fake feud with Trump because, of course, remember, if you're a celebrity, you have to be anti-Trump. And here she was. Donald Trump said she wasn't a 10. So, of course, she wore a shirt that had 9.99 and a 666 reference. And, oh, boy, well, this is actually Heidi without any of the makeup on. This was Heidi around Halloween pretending that this was actually a costume. But we know if all of these people removed their masks, this is probably what we would see because this is nothing but a demonic fraternity. So we had the Grammy Awards. We got Lady Gaga wearing the birdcage. They're admitting that she's wearing a birdcage. We're supposed to think it's normal and creative and artistic. Yet it's like the 9,000th time Lady Gaga's worn a birdcage, let alone every other celebrity that performs inside of bird cages and wears them over their heads. We got CeeLo Green showing up with his son, who, I mean, I'll take a wild guess. His son must be trans, right? It's part of the protocol there with his demonic eyeballs and him doing the 666. Of course, we even got Justin Bieber doing a humiliation ritual. And as I mentioned, with Bieber, with Tori Spelling, with all these people in Hollywood, this is the big club that they're in. It's a massive blackmail ring where all these people perform satanic rituals because they believe that the purest form of magic that one could perform involves that red liquid that can only come from young children. And they don't hide it. If you look at a lot of the plots of movies that get nominated for awards or that all these celebrities like Demi Moore are in, or shows like American Horror Story, they reveal the truth to you through what we believe is fiction. And then, of course, we're told that those things are fiction, but the news is real, and the news is completely manufactured and carried out in a script, which is why you see people losing their minds over complete fake news that the government is carrying out to bring about their dystopian hell that they have planned for us in this technocrat that they're building out and we're allowing them to build. So the 2026 Grammy Awards, like I said, I mean, Ted Kaczynski, is it too soon? Where are you, Ted? Now, I know they off Ted, who was another guy connected directly to MK Ultra. If you haven't seen my videos on Ted Kaczynski, of course he was. Of course, they're all just connected with the CIA, some way, shape, or form, and have some type of involvement with mind control experiments. But boy, could you imagine the odor in the room at the Grammys? That's the real thing to take away. I mean, boy, I'm hoping that these people, since they were the ones promoting COVID masks, I'm hoping they were wearing clothespins over their noses and they didn't have to smell one another. But I guess they enjoy the smell of rotting feces and, of course, sulfur. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.